What is ADHD really, and how do we deal with it? ADHD is a condition of paradoxes.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
For example, we crave structure, but we thrive in chaos. We spend a week putting together the perfect productivity system, and then it lasts a few days until we throw it out the window because it stops working. We can focus for hours and hours on things that interest us. People can even come and talk to us and we won't hear them. We're so locked in. And yet at the same time, we can get so distracted that we can be looking right at someone and we don't hear a thing they say.
Yeah.
This one might surprise you. It's not really common knowledge, but people with ADHD actually tend to look younger than our neurotypical counterparts. And yet we have issues with eyesight and autoimmune diseases and all sorts of other things. Just for fun, drop it in the comments. How old do you think I actually am? And if you want to go even further, what autoimmune disease do you think I have? Another paradox is that we have no sense of time. We can't feel our future selves. There's now and there's not now. Wait, that's not a paradox. There's no other side to that.
When will then be now? Soon.
We can be incredibly intelligent, and yet our brain can also be up to 30% underdeveloped than our neurotypical peers. And that's into and sometimes through adulthood. So it's really common for people with ADHD to be a year behind in school. We feel very intense emotions. At the same time, we can't tell you what emotion we're feeling. So it's better to ask us what intensity level we're feeling it at versus what kind of emotion we're feeling. We're people pleasers, and at the same time, we can be dealing with oppositional defiant disorder. So we'll bend over backwards and give you the shirt off our back, but if you tell us what to do, we'll give you the finger.
Nope. Right over the rock.
A lot of us can be extremely sensitive to pain. And at the same time, there are some of us that don't feel pain hardly at all. We can be very creative and we can find patterns that other people can't see. And at the same time, we can use those same parts of our brain to ruminate and downward spiral and find all sorts of things wrong with the world that aren't really there. We also tend to be very all or nothing. Either we don't eat the cookie or we eat 12 cookies, but there doesn't seem to be much of a middle ground. So what is ADHD really? It's these series of paradoxes, or is there a pattern behind these paradoxes? It could be that these things are like a compass that are forcing us to go in the right direction that makes us happy. So either we can work with our brain and we can be happy, or we can fight against it trying to live the life that other people are telling us to live, and we can be in hell. So what do we do with this information? How do we deal with ADHD? I think we need to recognize that just by asking that question of how we deal with ADHD, it makes ADHD seem like a problem. And that's really not the right way to look at it.
It's a riddle.
Yes, some people look at ADHD as a disorder, but that's from a neurotypical point of view. We are not broken. We are not victims. Our brains are wired differently, and we're trying to thrive in a world that was not built for us. It's essentially like a fish running around on land with a scuba tank. It just doesn't work all that well. So instead of trying to create a neurotypical life for ourselves, why don't we create the life that will actually make us happy? Our brains are wired differently, and we need to learn to work with our brains instead of fighting against it. As every ADHDer will tell you, if you fight against us, we're gonna rebel.
Agreed.
Our interest in something is key. If we're not interested, it doesn't matter how important it is. It doesn't matter what the priority is. And it can't be someone else's priority, and it can't be someone else's interest. It has to be our interest. That's when our brains will work on something. And so we can use tools like NICU, novelty, interest, challenge, and urgency. Take one of these things, or better yet, more than one of these things, as many as we can, and put it into something that we need to work on. When we inject it into that thing, our barrier to entry becomes lower, and starting is a heck of a lot easier. Another thing that we can do is we can use external structures. These are things outside of ourselves that we use to make up for areas where we're weak. For example, we can use external timers so we don't have to try and keep track of time in our heads, because that's not going to happen.
And that's why that no work.
We can write things down because we're going to forget them. We can use calendars, we can use to-do lists, we can use productivity systems. There's a million different external structures for things that we can do. The trick is to use the ones that help us. And when they stop helping us, which they all are going to eventually, we need to tweak them to insert the shininess back in. Insert something that's going to make it so that our brain is willing to use it again, which actually is a form of novelty. See my reference to NICU earlier. But I think the single most important thing that we can do is we can stop focusing on our weaknesses. We can stop seeing ourselves as victims and instead focus on our strengths. As the old saying goes, you find what you're looking for. And if we just focus on our weaknesses, all we're going to see are problems. But if we focus on our strengths, we can use those strengths to our advantage to move forward. And we will eventually see that ADHD is not a disability, but it's an advantage. It's a way to make things absolutely clear. And either we end up living the life that we want, or we end up living through hell.
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
And on that happy note, thanks for spending some time with me today. I appreciate you, and I look forward to the next one where we engineer the crap out of ADHD.